What's up? We're back, and today we're gonna be turbocharging my 50 right here. Actually, I'm kidding. So I was riding earlier today, and I have bent my subframe. As you can see, this is a lot lower than this one. So this one got bent upwards, and it needs to be straightened out. And while I have it all apart, I'm going to be putting a much better tire on here, because this is practically bald. And I'm also going to be putting actually nothing else on it, but while I have it apart, I'm going to be doing oil change, maintenance, check everything over. Plus, I'm going to show you all the parts that are on my bike and review all of them and tell you them where you can get them, and all the parts I have on my bike will be linked in the description. You can pick them all up at Racersedge. So it's in Ohio. Come down here. You can get yourself some parts for your pit bike. Whether I mean, it can be 110s, it can be 50s, it can be anything. But for now, let's get into this. So first, you want to make sure you have all your tools. You want to make sure you have grease, ratchets, sockets. This is for the chain, stuff like that. This is for the body panels, the plastics. You have to get those off. Impact, electronic screwdriver, which is what that is. Make sure you have magnetic trays for your screws and bolts, so that way you do not lose them. And make sure you have a rag. Make sure you have tray and pan, a lift for the back tire, brake clean, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. First, let's get the body panels off. Good old 10mm. Don't want to lose that. Also, I have access to just about every tool in the world right now, so let's hope my dad don't see this video. So, when you go to take the plastics off the 50, if you've ever had them off, after you take in the 2 seat bolts off, right there and there, your 2, they screw onto the gas tank. Make sure when you put these back on, do not tighten these too tight. There's a brass fitting in here, and if you tighten them too tight and they can't come out, you'll actually end up twisting the brass fitting out of your gas tank, and then you gotta either press one back in or get a new gas tank. So it's never a fun day to do that. And then the last 2 are the 2 push pins on the gas tank right here. Those, you don't have to worry about those, which is push pins. And after that, you just take it, slide it backwards a little bit, and it literally just lifts straight off. So there you go. There's your seat, your number plates, your fender, and your 2 side panels. So you really just set that out of the way for now. Now you have pretty much full access to subframe, shock, exhaust, gas tank, pretty much anything here, wiring, rev box, whatever you have. So I'm gonna go and go over all the parts I have first. We have, for my exhaust, we have a FMF Power Core 4. You can pick that up at Racersedge. Pretty much all these parts you can pick up at Racersedge. My shock, which is really nice shock. It is a Pro Wheel shock made for CRF50s. Pick that up at Racersedge also. So do not even waste your money on eBay shocks. I have went through about 5 to 6 of them, and they are trash. I've had them for anywhere from 10 days to about a month and a half, 2 months, and they've blown out within that period of time. Right now, they are perfect. Like, this thing has been lasting me about a year and a half, almost 2 years. No damage, nothing. Ah, I tasted it. Ow! Oh, crap! Oh! Oh, that freaking hurt! Ouch! My poor shock. Ouch! Sorry, shock. It's an oil/air shock, so you can increase your air pressure with that knob right there. Of course, that has a spring you can adjust up and down. Got your bumper. It's really nice. Increases your travel. It lifts the bike up around 1.5 inches, 2 inches almost. So it is super nice shock. Couldn't ask for a different one. Unless you guys find a Fox Float MXR for me, I'm going to keep this shock on my bike. Next, we have a BBR Rev Box. Kind of upside down here. So the BBR Rev Box, it exceeds the 9,800 RPM rev limiter, so it allows you to rev your bike out a little bit more. Next, tires. So I use Max's Max Crosses, but I'm going to be using the exact same tire, but it is just a newer version, more tread. It's the same tire I'm putting on it, just more tread on it, same tire. Up front, I have the Max Cross IT, I think, and it is about the best front tire you could ever ask for. It is absolutely amazing. Plenty of tread on the side. I've had this for about 2 years. This is how good it's holding up. I mean, plenty of knobbies on there. Honestly with you, I'd almost trade my back tire, but I like my front traction, so I keep that on there. Next, I'm gonna go with the skid plate. So the skid plate is a BBR. A lot of my parts on my bike are BBR, but skid plate, it is solid steel. It bolts on 2 back here, and then 2 on the side of your engine block. So you have to tap and thread the tap and die. Thread these. There's 2 actually cut out holes. Here, I'll show you on the stock one. On the stock 50, they have the holes, but they're not tapped, not screwed, nothing, no threads. So pull out a stock bike real quick. So as you can see here, there's the hole here, but no threads. It's just a hole. You got to tap and die it first. Then you can screw your skid plate on. BBR, when you order that skid plate, does come with screws, all the bolts you need, everything you need to install it. I don't remember if it came with a tap and die set, but you can get them pretty much at any hardware store. Make sure you get the right size though. Same thread pitch as your screws that come with it. Next is my shifter, and dude, I pretty much couldn't even ride this bike without this BBR shifter. It is 1 inch extended, so your foot can get in there really nice and keep it nice and fit. Nice, you have plenty of room to move your foot back and forth with jumps and stuff. Also folding shifter tip, so if you're going into inside really fast, you don't freaking shift yourself down into neutral like my dad did. Yeah, it's super nice. I really couldn't ask for a different shifter. Next, I have a EK chain. It's gold. Kind of the gold is really worn off, but it's an EK chain, really. Just the chain for, you look up CRF50 chain. We sell all this stuff at Racer's Edge, so anything you see on my bike, we do sell it here at Racer's Edge. I have my chain guide. This we actually do not sell at Racer's Edge, but we do sell the official BBR one. I have this one. I've kind of had to hack it up to make it work, but it was just cheaper at the time, and I didn't feel like buying the BBR one, so that was just what I went with right there. Alright, next, move up front here. So what really separates this bike is the handlebars. They have the BBR extended handlebars, tall bars, so they kind of look like BMX bars basically. That's what they pretty much are, but they have bar pad spot, and you know, a little bit longer, a little bit taller actually. So with PBR, when you buy the tall bar kit, you get the throttle housing, grips, lever, all the extended cables. Since it's higher, you need extended cables. Comes with a triple tree mount, bar pad, kill switch, because the original one is built into the throttle, kill switch, and yeah, that's pretty much what it comes with, and it's super nice. Oh, and also, my bad, it also comes with a aftermarket throttle cap, red one, throttle cap for carburetor cap for the carburetor. And it comes with that too, because I guess you gotta rewire the throttle. So, but my throttle cable actually broke, so that's why this one's gray and this one's black. They've actually updated it, so if you find gray cables, it's a little bit rare. You have to find black cables, they're the more common ones. Next is front fork kits. So Two Brother Racing, BBR, a couple other brands actually sell these, and they extend your height of your fork 1 inch and increase the travel about a half to a 1 inch. So super nice, makes the bike taller, makes way more travel up front, so you're not clanking your suspension forks every time you go to overjump a jump or something. I still do though. So, but it also comes with more heavy duty springs, heavy duty bushings, everything you need. Yeah, the shower sticker. These are not shower forks, but why not? It's on there. Pretty much, other than that, it's about all the aftermarket parts I have on my bike. Yup. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the oil change. So, yeah. See you on the time lapse. Real quick, I forgot to mention this. Your BBR skid plate does come with a drilled hole for your oil drain. So yeah. Before we go ahead and crack this open, when you start the bike, warm it up, get the oil nice and warm, and you know, less viscosity, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and start this bad boy up and get to it. As you can see here, this black oil. Dang it, I didn't take the washer off. Well, you got that on camera, that's kind of cool. Let's try to dig that out. There you are. Well, that kind of sucked. Did not mean to do that. Set this down real quick. totally forgot that was even there. It's aluminum washer. Make sure you guys get it. Learn from my mistakes. There's one more thing I'm going to mention to you guys, is that even if you have a pit bike or a CRF50, XR50 for a, young child of yours, you should always get a skid plate, no matter really what, even if it's a pit bike or it's for, a child of yours. Make sure you guys get a skid plate. It is awesome. I love the thing. Not only does it keep sticks, mud, anything from caking up onto your case, or rocks sitting in its case, cracking it, stuff like that. It also makes working on your bike 30 million times easier, because you can take pretty much any jack you want, and you have a flat surface to jack it up on instead of jacking it up on your bottom of your engine case. And it's flat surface, so it jacks it up equally. You're not tilting the bike, risking it falling down. It's really nice, super nice to work on your bike with, so highly recommended thing to get for any CRF50. To be honest with you, I think they should come stock with them, but maybe Honda will notice this. Gonna have to grease that up. Wheel has been off the bike vacated. Alright, it's time to get this tire off, so there's the new one. Come over to the tire changing machine and the tire changing bench. Let's let the air out of this and get to work. Alright, so once you have your valve core out, you have to take your nut off using one of these right here. Once you get it loose enough, you can just undo it with your hand like this. Put it in my limit tray. So mine has this. Yours probably doesn't, because I remember putting this on here. It is this little rubber boot. I gotta get it off. And it's a pain to get off too. So time lapse. rubber cap off. Alright, so next step is you want to make sure that your tube valve stem is loose. Make sure that. Push your wheel down, make sure the bead is nice and off the rim. Make sure you let all the air out. So now, I'm going to make sure, you guys probably don't have this. I do, I'm lucky enough to have it. I have a tire changing machine, but I can't use it on CRF50 tires because they have super tiny sprockets and that is too big to clamp down. So I'll have to do it the hard way, just like you guys will have to do. So, make sure you have a lubricant. Soapy water will work, but WD-40, it's an oil. It works a little bit better, so you want to spray it around your rim. Make sure it's nice and lubricated. Push that down, make sure all that gets down in there between the tire and the rim. And then take your valve, tire irons. And you always want to start at your valve step right here. Always start next to it. Whenever you're doing this, like this. You're just gonna be difficult, aren't you? Now that you have your first bead off on one side, as you can see here, this is off of the bead, you are going to have to get the tube out and then take the other side off. So, time lapse. Tube out. Dang it. Old tire L equals off. And your rim, while you have this off, it's always a good idea to grab a rag and make sure you clean it inside and out. While you have your tire off, make sure you check your rim band, look for any splits, cracks, tears, dry rots, anything. Make sure your hole for your valve stem is still lined up with that. So now you're gonna grab your new tire that you want to put on, and if it's directional, make sure you look for an arrow somewhere on your tire that will point the direction. But on mine, it doesn't have that, so this is a used tire, so I'm going to look at the knobs and see which sides is where it's off, and round it off the most and put the sharp side on the side that the tire is going to bite dirt with. So it looks like that's the sharp side. So if chain's here, tire is going to spin this way. Sharp side's there, so it's going to go like that. The lubricant. on there, come on. Yes. Alright, so now we have the first bead on. Now, before you put your tube in, even if it wasn't flat before, you always want to make sure that it is not going to go flat on you. So while you have it off, go ahead and fill it up with some air. Not too much. There we go. So just put a little air in it so it expands, just like that. And you guys don't have this. I pretty much doubt any of you guys have this, but a sink will do this. What it is let's set your tube down. What you have is, here we have our dunk tank, and it is full of water, as you can see. So what you do is you take your tube that is full of air, and you guys can just fill a sink up and do the same thing. But you take your tube, make sure, dip it down in the water, and if it leaks, you'll see bubbles. If you see bubbles, that's bad. Let's check the valve stem. So, no bubbles. My tube is good. But always check that before you go putting your tube back in. Make sure to kind of dry it off a little bit. Swing it around, you know. Put the lid back on. Oops. Alright, so now that you have your El Tubo that does not leak, you're going to go ahead and take your valve core back out, because you gotta have it nice and flat to put back into your tire, which is the very hard part. Turn this off. So go ahead and find your hole. Fish your tube back in there. This part sucks. It's about the worst part of changing a tire, is getting the tube back in and getting the, make sure you don't pinch it on the way back in. Alright, so as you're putting your tube in, you're going to find this stupid thing called the valve stem. Make sure you have it lined up with your rim, with a hole in the rim, and fish it in there. And it is a feat to get it in there. I'm gonna have to have another person. I did it by myself because I have these tire priers. They basically pry the tire open so you can look and see what you're doing. But if not, you can get another person to come in here and, like, you know, really yank on the tire, feed it in there. If you ever change a bicycle tube, it's pretty much the same way, just with a lot more chunkier tire. But afterwards, you're going to want to put the nut back on. Now you've got to make sure your valve stem is straight, no funkiness. And now you're going to make sure you have lube on here. Go ahead and pry it back on, just like you took it off. Start at the valve stem. The farther and farther you progress around the tire, the smaller and smaller bites you're gonna have to take. Yep. Freak you. Yep. This is why nobody was doing this by themselves. Okay, last bite, hopefully. Yes. Perfect. Now, once you do this, you might think you're, yay, set. Let's put the nut back on, put the valve core back in, let's go. First, you want to make sure you have not pinched your tube in between your tire. So you can kind of push down, get a flashlight in there. Always keep your O-light on you. O-lights are super amazing. We sell them here at Racer's Edge. Really, really tiny flashlights. Super bright. So they're really nice. You can actually, they have a backwards clip. So you can clip it to the bill of your hat like that. And you can check and make sure that you have not pinched your tube anywhere. Alright, so now before you do this, make sure your valve stem, you can push it back in and out, make sure it's free. Now you can take the nut back off. Well, of course, you guys would actually just keep it on and tighten it down. But since I have this stupid rubber boot that I put on there to make sure no dirt gets in my tire, I actually have to put air in it first because it'll just go back in. So hold on. Time lapse equals on. Alright, so when you guys go to fill this up, I should have mentioned this earlier, but you can use a bike pump, but if you guys have a small air compressor, that'll do as well. So dang it, hard to get that thing in there. Use a smaller one or something. Now that you have air in it, you guys pretty much be done by now. But I gotta fiddle around with a little rubber boot first. Then I put my nut on. Then tighten that down. And then you're set to put air in it if you guys have a rubber boot, but stock 50s don't come with rubber boots like that. So, and really the nicest thing you can get for a tire, and I haven't got the tube yet for it, it's a little bit harder to fiddle with, is angled valve stems. Man, I'd pay a lot to have one of those, because they angle out at 90 degree and come out right here so you can fill it up without having to get a really shorty air fill nipple. But check our PSIs here. I can't use that one. Oops. Hand did it. Alright. Perfection. So now you put all your tools away. Alright, now that you have your tire, you're going to GoPro battery's getting a little bit low. So you have your tire, now you gotta go put it back on your bike. So, a little bit hard to do, but your strap tire, you can take it to a couple, like, you have a place in your town or whatever that will take tires or scrap them out. Take it there. Otherwise, you can really just throw in garbage, scrap, lay them around, leave them as a relic if you want any races with it, you know, stuff like that, really. Alright, time to get this wheel back on. And if you guys lose this, it's not, you can't really replace it with just any old nut. As you can see here, this is curved, just like this part on here. It's a round cylinder. So the little part that adjusts right here, it's a round cylinder, so that's what locks in. It goes half turn, click, half turn, click, half turn, click. So make sure you guys have that. So stupid iPhone, shut up. Put your brake caliper in there, and when you guys put this back on, there is this tab, that metal tab sticking up there, and there's a slot on here that has to go in there. You have to make sure that goes in there. Otherwise, you will not have very much brakes, and then that's not going to be quite the fun day for you. So, you have to make sure you have this stuff lined up. Rick, that sucked. Anyway. Here's something you guys might be a little bit afraid to get into, but if you want to keep your bike lasting long, you gotta get your hands in it no matter what. A little bit of grease. You know, can't be afraid to get your hands in this. You just gotta do it. Grease your axle, grease your threads, grease pretty much anything you're taking apart that is metal to metal. Make sure you grease it. Especially these two brass pins up here in the gas tank, like I told you about earlier. Make sure you guys definitely grease those up. All right, so when it comes to your master link on your chain, I had to take mine off right there. You're gonna go ahead and put that through, put your links back together. Well, down the grease, perfect. Couldn't hurt anyway. So, once you have your link back on, you're going to take this, and this, if you put this on the wrong way, bad things can happen. If you put it on this way, you can see that's where it goes in, that's where it enters, it goes on this way. If you put it on this way, when it comes down, and it could get caught on your chain guide, stuff like that, could get caught, come right off, chain slips off, bad day. Gotta go buy a new link, buy a new master link, buy this, stuff like that. If you put it on this way, whatever it hits, it's actually gonna push it back on. So this is the best way to put a master link on. Make sure you guys always do it like that on no matter what bike you have. Best way to do it, only way to do it, to be honest with you. But, yep. Alright, time for another tip. So, when you guys are putting your chain back on, probably should know this. If you've ever changed tires, I don't know where to put this. Okay. putting it right here, maybe. Right here. Okay. So you're going to take your 10mm ratchet, or whatever, wrench. Doesn't have to be ratchet wrench. Not wrench, a wrench. Put it in between your chain and your sprocket and pull it as tight as you can. And what that's gonna do is pull these nuts as far that way as they can, so you can see. Hold on a second. Okay, so you're gonna see these adjusters, your chain adjusters. They're gonna be pulled forward and be squashed tight, and your chain is gonna be like a guitar string. That's good. That's exactly what you want. So what you do when you have this tightened down, make sure both sides are equally tight, and then you're going to take your nut on one side and tighten it down, because that's what's gonna hold it in place. Holy cow. Whoa. Okay, guys. I have ran into an issue. As I was putting my axle back through and tightening it back down like you guys just saw, I bumped into my rear swing arm and tire. Okay. As you see here, not sure if you guys can see that, but that is not supposed to do that. My whole rear swing arm is rattling, so guys, I gotta go get a new battery. I'll be right back. What's up? We're back. Got my new battery along with some snacks and a drink. Oh, there it is. Drink right here. So back. So as I was saying, the swing arm is really loose. Alright, fix that. This was loose. Alright, we're back. So, right now, record there. We're on to the oil change, since everything else has been fixed. So I'm gonna go and let the jack down, get the jack out of the way. And make sure when you guys work on your bike, if you're gonna do anything else besides the oil change, take the drain plug out, let it drip drain for the entire time you're working on whatever else you're working on. And then all the oil will be out. You'll have it fresh, you know. Every little drop will be out. It'll be nice and good. So let's go ahead and let our jacket down. Okay, bike is back on the ground. Well, I swear if I hit that core one more time. Alright, time for the oil change. So, all the oil's out. Looks like I got a little bit on my skid plate because I had the bike tilted up on a certain way, so I dripped on there. But, make sure you guys go ahead and get your oil out. This. Get your funnel. And what do I want? Alright. And lastly, this is my favorite thing when it comes to oil change. Lucas Oil. Lucas Oils. I absolutely love your guys' motorcycle stabilizer and a bunch of your other fluids and sprays, whatever you have, pretty much everything you make. I absolutely love it. I could not ride my bike without this. If you guys watch my videos, I absolutely beat the living dog crap out of this thing. clanking gears, shifting into second, absolutely beating the heck out of this bike. You know, clanking up into second, and then it's hard on that transmission. It's done freaking, I don't even know how many hours it's got on it, but man, it is pretty bad. So this stuff, before I had this stuff in there, I knew about it. I would clank gears, it would sound really bad, really nasty. Put this stuff in there, about the smoothest your bike will ever shift in its entire lifetime. Extends the life. It's awesome. I love this stuff. So Lucas, I really like your guys' products. I go to your guys' Lucas Oil Stadium in Indiana every year to see your supercross races. So Lucas Oil Motocross, Supercross. Love your guys' stuff. If you're out there, you wanna send me a bottle of this stuff, maybe sponsor me. Who knows? But let's get into this oil change here. Alright, hold on. Got this section down. Put the drain plug back into the motor. Freaking plane, shut the freak up. I'm trying to make a YouTube video. Huh? Stupid planes. Alright, when you go to fill this up, make sure you guys, when you have your funnel, wipe it out with a rag, make sure there's no dirt. You don't want no dirt getting in your engine case. So make sure you guys' funnel is clean. Look through it, make sure there's no dirt, anything that can get in there. Wipe it out with a rag. Now you're set to fill your budget up. Put some oil in the motor. Okay, I grabbed a different funnel because the other ones suck. Real quick before I get back into this, when you take this out, there's an O-ring on here. Do not lose that O-ring. That is what seals that off. Do not lose that. So, something I wanted to point out. Thing's got a pretty small thing, so you gotta check it every tiny bit. Whoa, freak you. Alright, before we get into this straightening of the frame, I will have to say, Kettle brand chips. If you're out here watching my video right now, I got to say, you are my favorite chips. Crinkle cut, salt and fresh ground pepper are my favorites. I love them things. If you want to send me a bag of chips or sponsor me, I appreciate that. Time to straighten the framer. Just a tiny bit more, looks like. Hit it a couple more times. A tiny bit higher. Now it looks lower. Oh no, it's good, it's good. I'm looking at the bike, it's tilting a little bit, but yeah. It's good. It's good. Okay, time to put the stuff all back on. Make sure you guys have the grease. Oh, there's grease, everything. Grease is really important. Give me some. Okay. We would have some tunes, but copyright issues prevent us from doing that. So, yeah, no tunes. You guys will be hearing tunes, but us, we know have tunes. Frick that. Alright, so when you guys go to put your plastics back on, this is where you gotta be a little careful. You can see on your seat here, you have two tabs right there and there, and they hook into these two metal things that stick up here. So there's two metal plastic tabs go underneath that. And you cannot just slap this back on there on top, because these two plastic tabs will sit on top of this, and these two plastic tabs will break off. So make sure when you guys do this, when you're sliding this on, make sure you look down there and make sure those two plastic tabs go in there just like that. And up front, you always pretty much have to do this. The piece of red plastic up here will get caught, so you have to lift it up, put it on top, lift it up, put it on top. Make sure it's pushed all the way on, like that. Now you're lined up. I always put our gas tank bolts in first. These are the ones you have to grease, because it really should grease everything, but make sure you get grease on these no matter what. Great. Anyway, make sure you get grease on these. Don't drop it in the tub, but make sure you get grease on them, because those brass fittings, as I said earlier, will come out of your gas tank, and I gotta use the Phillips with my fingernail. Get that started, because that is greasy. Never tighten anything down until all the bolts are in, then you tighten everything down. Otherwise things can get lopsided, bent, all kinds of stuff. I need a new tub of grease. A little bit out of the grease. But, you know. I hate having grease on my hands. If you guys have an CRF50, what I'm doing right now is so much easier, because 2004 plastics, when they switched it over to the CRF, didn't have the plastic. Get the flange over there. There we go. So on the old XRs, they had a much shallower flange here, so you could get your hand in there a lot easier. The 2004 plastics have a much deeper slot here. Do not tighten those down too tight, ever, because you don't want to get your breast fitting destroyed. Alright, seat bolts. Man, we need more grease. We need a lot more grease. Dude, there's no more grease in here. I gotta find like little chunks of it and hope you're able to get some. Really need a new tub of grease. That mosquito bite up, freaky. Alright. This one always sucks. Now the simplest thing of putting your plastics back on, 2 little push pins in the front of your plastics. They go up here. Always face, if your push pins have a cutout, always face those towards the part where you're going to pry it open again with a screwdriver. So always make sure you face those towards the open part of your plastics. Push them down. Now everything is solid. Ready to go ride your bike again. Now you gotta put all the tools away. Oh, this thing smells good. We got some gold right here, 10mm socket. Don't want to lose that. Forgot to adjust that back. Forgot to adjust my brake back. Where it was. Always put your tools back so next time you work on something, you know exactly where they are. Like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.